Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to the screening of Black Milk at the Hong Kong Asian Film Festival 2020. Today, we are very happy to have with us the director of the film, Uisenma Borchu, to share with you her experiences in making the film and also talk a little bit about her work, her filmmaking, and also maybe her own identity as well. I'm sure Uisenma is already here. Uisenma, hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Shall we give a round of applause to Uisenma? Thank you for joining us, Uisenma. It's very early in the morning, and thanks for joining us virtually. Well, we would very much love to have you here with us, but well, this is the best that we could do. So thank you very much. But maybe I'll start the questions by asking you a very basic one. I mean, what's behind the inspiration for Black Milk?
Right, that started already a long time ago, I guess, without knowing it, because as I, came to Germany as I was a little girl, I think I started to observe the cultures, Mongolian and the German culture, and what it means to be, to not belonging somewhere. And so I collected over the years my whole, the experiences I made with people who tell you where you belong and where you not belong. And I was very interested in the way how we feel superior to other people, to tell them how they are, who they are, and, of course, the arrogance that is behind that. Because that's something I could really explore intensively, because people used to tell me that I don't belong here or there.
Yes, I think the word belong actually appears quite a few times in the film. From the very beginning, in the scene when Wessie's lover said that, well, you belong to me. And then also when back in Mongolia, when her father said that, well, during the ritual, well, she doesn't belong here. So the sense of belonging, the sense of identity is probably central to this story.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think we are all grown into political circumstances that we actually don't need, because I am someone who is I really feel like I should be free from all these political things. But since I was 4 years old, I had to be political. And that is something that I really didn't need. And I just want to, when I made the film, I want to experience what it really makes with us, and that we maybe should think about it, what it means to be free from all these conditions. I think it's very worth thinking about it.
So actually the names of the characters, the two leading characters, the sisters, Wessie and Ossie, the names themselves are actually quite loaded with political meaning. So how did you decide to call them Ossie and Wessie?
Yeah, Ossie and Wessie is how Germans used to call themselves, people from the GDR and the Republic. The Democratic Republic, and they used to say to each other Ossie and Wessie, just to give them names and to insult each other. And of course, I was always hearing it as a kid. And when I came to Mongolia, people said to me, that's the one from the West. So I was the Wessie, even though, German people used to call themselves like this. But, I used it because it's geographically, it is the right thing to call the sisters. But, political perspectives, they change from the one who looks from their own corner. And yeah, things are always different when someone else sees it with their eyes.
When you were developing the scripts, did you actually talk to your Mongolian relatives about the development of the characters? Gunsma, who plays your sister in the film, plays Aussie. Actually, she's your cousin. So did you actually discuss how the characters would develop with her when you were actually writing the script all along?
Well, I showed the script to my parents, and they were, at first, they weren't very happy about it, because my mom, she said, why are you doing this? Because a Mongolian woman, she doesn't slaughter, she doesn't kill a woman, and she doesn't kill a goat and stuff like this. So it was already very provocative, but I didn't mean to be that. You know, I'm just asking questions because, of course, I'm intrigued by it, why things are forbidden for women. And at the end, you know, after we shot, you know, my parents, they understood what I wanted to see and what I want, you know, what the vision was. But of course, at first they were kind of very almost angry about it, because it's always very hard to put aside traditions and to just question them. And, you know, with the actors who aren't really actors, you know, there were Nomads. My cousin is also, she's not an actress. And I was very curious about shooting with them without them knowing anything about the script. Because they're anyway no actors, so it would be very nice and fresh to improvise with them. Of course, I gave them the script to read so they could understand, but it was just 2 days before shooting. Mm-hmm. And so I really, it is much stronger when you lead people like that.
So how long did the shoot take in Mongolia? And how much time did you spend in the country shooting the film?
Shooting the film was 30 days. Mm-hmm. Before that, we had like 2-3 weeks just to find the nomads who would shoot with us in the Gobi Desert. And yeah, you know, just to organize the yurts and stuff like that. Yeah, it was, yeah.
But what kind of color templates did you aim to produce? Because there has been, of course, Mongolian films before, and people have these preconceptions of the country. So did you try and do something different in order to give people another perspective of the country?
Yeah, for me, it was very clear to shoot the film with no totals of landscapes. I just wanted to have it more, you know, concentrated on the people, on their faces. And I just wanted to have it rough as possible, because everybody knows the Gobi Desert is a beautiful spot, and everybody is shooting beautiful movies about it. And I'm not so, you know, it shouldn't be a touristic film like that. I just wanted to have a perspective that I used to have when I look at the Gobi Desert. It should be something very subjective from my eyes, and as true as possible. And you know, I don't like to make things beautiful. They have to have a contrast, especially with the sand, the earth, the dirt. And then you have these two beautiful women who are just looking for their lives and their identity, and you know, to put them also in a beautiful spot, it's kind of fake to me. So I just wanted it as rough as possible.
Okay. Of course, I have more questions to ask, but maybe I should just open it up to the floor to see whether the audience would have some questions. I'm sure there will be questions. If you do have any questions, please raise your hand. My colleague will pass you a microphone. Any questions you'd like to ask Uisenma? Yes.
Hello, director. Thanks for your time and your film. I have two questions. The first one is related to the symbolic meaning of black in the film. Like from my understanding, like milk is kind of related to motherhood or feminism, this kind of perspective. So, but I kind of confused what the black here refers to. And the second question is because when I search your information on the internet, I found like you are not, a film student during undergraduate, and what kind of inspires you or encouraged you to pursue film in your, after your, academic studies at the university?
Yeah, thank you very much. I made my diploma film in 2016 here in Munich, in Germany. My first, my diploma film was my first feature. It's called Don't Look at Me That Way. And I'm very, it was a movie made without any budget. And I think it was a very big step forward to get into film, how do you say, industry. And the color black is somehow very strong to me because I grew up, I think most of us did. We were so influenced by political and social circumstances, religious, historical, that black is a color of the bad, of something you shouldn't better touch. But, when I grew up, I realized I really like black because inside of me, I felt it is something very strong, something what you don't see, something that is covered all up. And black is something which is a color of freedom. It's a color of being strong. And that's how I feel inside of me as a woman. And everybody thinks that when the milk comes out of your breasts, when your baby's born, and everybody thinks, oh, of course, it's white. And a woman has to give the milk to their babies. And everybody thinks, what strength is. But the milk is something so unbelievably, and I cannot really put it in words. It's something very, that has to do with a miracle. And it's so unknown. And I'm so happy to discover this color black inside of me. And that's why when I was writing the script, it just came out of my mind that I should say black milk and not white milk, because until now, as a modern woman in a modern society, I feel like people haven't discovered the strength in women, and still women themselves, they didn't discover it yet. And so I think I wrote instinctively, and that's why I called it black. And that's the meaning for me. Black is something very special. Okay. I hope I answered.
Yes, another question from the lady on the third row. Yes, please.
Hello. You mentioned that your relatives, like in Mongolia, they film in this film, and how do they think about like being part of this film, especially when this film is questioning the traditions, and then maybe your cousin, she has to do something that may violate the tradition. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for this question. A few weeks ago, we had a little premiere at the Ulaanbaatar Film Festival, and it was shown only one time. And I think people, they are very interested in it, but still, I think they feel a bit. Of course, it's kind of provocative to them, but I guess for Nomads, for Mongolian people, as we shot there, they weren't offended by this. I think they used to say to me, of course you're curious, and of course you have another life in another world, on the other side of our world, and that's why you ask questions. And so I didn't really feel that the Nomads were kind of, you know, struggling with me. They just accepted me as who I am, and that's how I used to know them. And they wouldn't tell me that I'm not a Mongolian or a stranger. And so it was very intense to work with them, because I learned very much, and I had to accept some things that you cannot do your film, because the film, when you're shooting with Nomads, is not important at all. You just have to adjust yourself to the Nomads and to the nature. And that's why I think Nomad people are so modern, because they kind of understand nature, they can read the nature, and they think the nature is above them. And that's an attitude that I really like, and I learned from them very much. And my cousin, for example, we had, of course, some problems while shooting, because in her mind, she's more conservative, and that's why she was really understanding the two sisters. And she was sometimes very angry at me, and I pushed it, of course, in, you know, making the scene in front of the altar when I smoked the cigarette and talking about the sex fantasies with Tirbish. And she was very pissed off at this moment, because she always used to say, stop it, you cannot put your ashes from your cigarette on the altar. And I said, why not? You know, and I really knew it, that she was kind of, you know, getting angry about it. But, you know, you have to get angry, and you have to get out of your comfort zone when it comes especially to things like that. And when I shoot a movie or a film, I just want to feel also the rage about this conflict. And that's why I also chose her, because I knew that we would have these kind of conflicts. And at the end of the shooting, she was kind of liberated, and she said to me that she had a very good time, because at the end, she has so much to think about her as a woman, what she wants, what she desires. And so it was not only the angry kind of way that we used to have, you know, she also learned something from it, like me.
Okay, we still have time for one more question. Okay, the friend over there.
Hi, it's not really a question, but I watched your film, Don't Look at Me That Way, when you came to Hong Kong, to the Hong Kong Lesbian Gay Film Festival 5 years ago. And I remember, if my memory is correct, you showed some short sequences that you shot in Mongolia in that film. Some dreamy sequences about grandmother or grandparents, if my memory is correct. And then today, watching this film here entirely shot in Mongolia, and then that very short sequence with grandma sitting there, it brought my memories from your previous film. I just want to say thank you for making this film, like bringing us to see the landscape. I feel like joining very distantly your journey to your search of your own identity and traditions. Thank you for challenging social norms and making this film. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's great. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe a last question. Anyone would want to venture that? Okay, maybe I'll ask the last question. Uisenma, I mean, how did the experience of shooting this feature nearly completely in Mongolia change your own way of filmmaking?
I think I have to get more away from these rules of making a movie, because in the desert, of course, I realized that you have to get away from these rules, because of course you have to adjust to the weather, to the people, and you just have to get a flow to it. And it's a very nice thing, no matter what you do, actually, when you set your own rules. But it doesn't mean that you disrespect anyone, but it is such a strong thing for me to follow my own film language, and be respectful at the same time, and to feel also the love of the people who give, their heart to it. And that's why filmmaking is, for me, definitely something that you have to share and enjoy with the team. And but at the same time, you have to get away from all these, the normal kind of way of filmmaking. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, Uisenma, we've got so many questions to ask, but I think we are running out of time. So thank you very much for joining us from Germany today. Shall we give another round of applause for the director, Uisenma Borchu? Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
also we have added another screening of Black Milk. So if you like recommend this film to your friends, please do. And the information is all available on our website. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you, Uisenma. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, and thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
Ah, il y avait...